All right, we are going. So today we've got JJ's Babysitter, and then John Pryor technically owns Chad's house, and so the real estate agent that was also it says Chad's home teacher. Now remember I told you guys home teachers are people who come over to your house maybe I want to say at least once a month, and what they'll do is check in on you and bring you occasionally bring you stuff. They're assigned by the church, the ward that you're in, to come over and be in your life, So that's kind of, it's an intimate thing because you go to their house every single, I don't know how many times, but there's somebody you're assigned to by the church. And so I would say it's not super intimate, but it's definitely more than an associate. So we're going to get into JJ's Babysitter, and this is a really short one. And then what's his name's is also very short. Well, his is a little longer. So we're going to start with this one. This is a shorter one. I've never heard this or his, so this is all still new. Let's just jump right into it.
Placed under oath at this time, so I am going to inquire. This case has been live streamed and available for view by the public in general or anyone interested. So Ms. Woodbury-Shank, have you watched this trial or observed any of the trial testimony since the trial began?
No.
Okay. Have you discussed with anyone else your
Fancy Nancy says there seems to be a hole in the swear jar.
testimony, anyone that has testified in this case?
No.
All right. Thank you for your responses then. Mr. Wood, if you'd like to inquire on direct, you may.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Could you state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Yeah, it's Sydney Schenk, Schenk.
Ms. Shank, what state do you currently reside in?
I currently reside in Arizona.
Have you ever lived in Rexburg, Idaho?
Yes, in 2019, I lived in Rexburg, Idaho.
What were you doing there?
I was attending college at Brigham Young University, Idaho.
Were you working at the time?
I was not.
Okay. Were you looking for work?
Yes.
What kind of work were you looking for?
I, in the past, have nannied and babysat. I enjoy watching kids, so I went on a website called care.com. Looking for a job opportunity to be a
And just
nanny.
so we're clear, Lori always had a babysitter for JJ almost the entire time that we've ever had him. So it was not uncommon for her to do that, but I just don't know why she hired a babysitter. I don't know.
Through care.com, did you ever meet a Lori Vallow?
Yes. So I posted a job listing that I wanted to nanny, and she replied to my listing, and we got in contact on the website, and then later messaged through text and set up a time for me to come meet her and her son JJ.
Where did you meet her?
I met them at her townhome in Rexburg.
And do you remember approximately when you met her?
Yeah, it was September 18th.
And through that conversation, did you learn if JJ had any special needs?
Yes. So she mentioned.
That makes me even more sad because that's really sad, because that means that right after they did that to Tylee, she had no one to watch JJ, and so she went to hire someone.
Yeah, he has autism, and that he had difficulty focusing at times and had some behavioral difficulties at times, and yeah, that he needed extra help.
When you met with her, did she say anything about her husband?
She did. She mentioned, as we got to know each other, that they had just moved to Rexburg from Arizona, and that her husband recently passed away from a heart attack, and that JJ was kind of struggling to understand that.
Did she tell you anything else about JJ?
Not really that day, just that he had autism and some difficulties.
Did she speak with you at all about a daughter named Tylee?
She didn't mention her name, but she did say she had a daughter that was living in town, attending college, and that sometimes she would come to visit and do laundry or come home for dinner, and sometimes would babysit, but that she didn't like babysitting without being paid, and so she wanted someone else to come in and help her.
But if Tylee didn't like wouldn't babysit for free, you're paying her. So why wouldn't you pay Tylee?
And so, from your understanding, was this daughter living in a separate location than Lori Vallow?
From what I understood, yes.
And this was on September 18th of 2019.
Yes.
Did she hire you to watch JJ?
Yes. So we had discussed coming in the future and coming the next day. She needed to go to the airport to pick up.
Lisa says, Colby, if you aren't too weary from these testimonies, I think you should watch Chad's neighbor's testimonies, the Gilberts. They aren't too long. Are those the ones across from his house? Because I met his neighbors across, and they're really nice people. So I wonder if that's who you're referring to. But yeah, I've kind of just looked for the ones that we kind of missed, and if they're shorter like this, we've been doing them back to back, just to kind of see a bigger perspective, you know. And also, thank you for your chat.
A friend, and she needed some help watching him just for a few hours. So I came the next day on the 8th or the 19th to watch JJ.
Did she, and approximately how many hours did you watch him that day?
I want to say 3 to 4 hours.
Did Lori say anything to you about JJ's medications?
She did. She, when I arrived, explained like what to feed him and some activities to do, and then also that if she got home later, that I could give him some medication to help him sleep.
So tell us about watching JJ. What do you remember about that experience?
Just for context, Lori didn't have anything to do, and she already had taken the lives of her husband and her daughter, and so she just had JJ and no job and all that income, had nothing to do, just wanted to be able to do whatever she wanted to, which was probably go see Chad or whatever, just completely bullshit around. So yeah, it's even worse to know that. And then on top of that, JJ was not more difficult than any other child. The problem is JJ was allowed to eat and do pretty much whatever he wanted when he was home. And so Lori always had, junk food in the house, and JJ had access to that. So he would get these sugar rushes like any kid would if you give any kid that. And, then she'd want him to take his medicine to calm down. So it's this big, huge back and forth of him getting hyped off of stuff he shouldn't be eating, which you should be regulating, and then him bouncing off the walls, and then you wanting him to calm down, and then hiring someone to watch him, even though you're a stay-at-home mom whose husband goes out and works, and you have literally no other hobby or job. You just don't want to watch your child. So there's context for you.
I remember him playing with the neighbor kids the majority of the time, and it was going fine. He was a fun kid, and he eventually went over to the next door neighbor's house to play, and I fed him some dinner before he left, and eventually his mom was going to come home soon, so I went back and picked him up from the friend's house, and he seemed really upset and just sad. They had a little tiff about sharing toys or something, and he was pretty upset, and I tried to calm him down best I could, but he had some behavioral difficulties calming down and was getting a bit aggressive and angry.
Okay. Did you have any other contact with Lori Vallow that night?
I did. So she came home from the airport with her friend, and her brother was there, and she tried to help me calm down JJ. And just in the midst of kind of him freaking out, I just left and she paid me. Yeah.
Did you have any further communications with Lori Vallow?
I did. So a couple days later, I messaged her again, hoping to work again. This, from my understanding, was going to be a longer term job that I could work for her few times a week as she needed it. And asked when I could come back. And she said that JJ went with his grandparents for a month, and that she was in Hawaii for a month. And that after that month had passed, I could reach out to her again to reschedule another time to babysit.
And did you ever try to do that?
I did. Yeah, I called her and texted her and never got a response back. From that point on, I didn't speak with her at all.
So you never heard from her again?
No.
Did Lori Vallow ever mention the name Chad Daybell to you?
No.
So you, through your contact with her, you never heard of a Chad Daybell?
No, never.
Your Honor, that's all the questions the state has for now.
All right, Mr. Pryor, cross-examine.
She had to hire someone, right? Had to hire someone to watch JJ so she could literally do nothing. Go to the temple, whatever she did. Rexburg is tiny. It's not like there's a million things to do. And that's no disrespect to Rexburg. It's just not a lot to do. Yeah, Kay, you're exactly right. And that's what she did. She just used people. That was her. That's just who she was. And like I said, as a parent, to know that you don't have anything you're pursuing or doing other than literally wasting time just shows you how much she didn't care. And we had a babysitter for JJ everywhere we lived, everywhere we went. And I'm not saying that you couldn't use help, but JJ wasn't that difficult. It's not true. JJ was not so unfathomably difficult that you need 3 or 4 people. I mean, he was a good kid and he was fun and you could easily play with him. It wasn't that hard.
Nomination.
It's still morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Do you have a recollection of about what time Lori Vallow returned home?
I don't know for sure, but it was around dinner times, probably around 5 or 6 at night.
Okay, you mentioned that it was about 3 or 4 hours that you watched JJ, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And then you and this was Thursday, right?
Yes.
And then what time did you arrive to start the babysitting?
I don't know for sure, but must have been 4 hours before that. So around maybe 1 o'clock.
Okay.
I don't know for sure though.
And you mentioned that you fed JJ that day. You fed him dinner.
Yes, yeah.
Is it possible it was after dinner?
That what was after dinner?
When Lori Vallow returned?
Yes, yeah.
So you don't know about what time after dinner though?
Do you ever have a point? Ever? Is there ever a method to anything that you say? Or are we just rambling? She got home later in the evening. She said she gave him dinner before he went to his friend's house and then went and picked him up. It's not that hard to follow. What is your point?
No, not for sure.
Okay. Now, before you started babysitting JJ that day, Lori warned you about some behavioral problems, right?
Yes, yeah.
Warned you how to distract him,
Even start. Don't start. Don't say one thing.
do things to distract him, show him a show,
Yeah.
or keep him out preoccupied because JJ suffered from a form of autism, from what I understand, correct? Right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Love Anyway says, as an autistic person, it is hurtful when people label us as difficult. We process things differently. JJ was not difficult. He was an autistic child learning to process things and deal with everything. Exactly. It's not a, oh my gosh, he has autism. I can't believe it. He's a difficult child. That's just ridiculous. He wasn't a difficult child.
And when Lori left, did she leave with anybody?
Yes, she left with her brother.
Do you remember what his name was?
I believe it was Alex.
Okay. And do you know about what time they left?
I would guess around 1 o'clock. Shortly after I arrived, they left.
Okay. Okay. And they were going to pick up a friend on Thursday that day, correct?
Correct.
And do you know the name of that friend that they were going to pick up Thursday afternoon?
Here we
I
go.
do not.
Did you happen to see her when she arrived?
Here it is.
Yes.
Can you describe what color her hair was?
Here we go.
It was a long time ago.
Okay.
But from what I remember, I want to say blonde.
Okay.
But honestly, I don't remember
Are you kidding me?
for sure.
And a slender lady.
Yeah.
Did anybody mention the name Melanie by any chance?
This is not normal. It can't be every time. It really can't. It can't be every time. Every person. How does Melanie Gidd come up? She had nothing to do with any of this situation. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. Kathy says, I can't stay, but wanted to pop in and say hi and I love you all. This should cover my cursing for the day. Thank you so much, Kathy. We love you too.
I can't say for sure. I don't remember.
At some point later, did you find out who that other friend was?
No.
Okay.
Here we go. He had to go there.
And you noted I read the officer's report about the interview with you. You noted that she came in and she didn't have any luggage with her.
Yeah, that's correct.
That struck you as kind of odd.
Yes. I didn't know how long she was staying, so or maybe she left it in the car. I don't know.
Okay, you don't know.
Yeah.
But she didn't come in with the luggage, right?
No.
Okay. Okay. And you noted that there were some behavioral problems with JJ right off the beginning, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Something about going upstairs and he knocked a mirror on the bed or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
He was just kind of freaking out, and when we came home from the friend's house, he
Let's put context to JJ no matter what. He literally saw his dad in his house and then never saw him again. He is there, whether he's registering what's happening or not. He's in that environment around Alex, around Lori. And then he gets ripped from his school and his house, which he already been moved, by the way. He already did. His mom went missing earlier in the year. Then he sees it goes with his dad. Then he goes back with his mom. And he's alone. His sister, it disappears. One day she's in the house. The next day he never sees her again either. He's not able to FaceTime. He can't talk to his grandma or his grandpa. He can't do anything that he was doing. His whole life was uprooted. And then Lori hires another stranger and leaves him with that stranger. On top of having autism and needing routine and needing some kind of stability. And she provided none. So that tells you everything of where his behavior, if you want to understand his behavior, that's what it is.
kind of threw like the ottoman and a chair down, and then he ran upstairs and wanted space, and I heard something fall, and it was the mirror. So I went up to check on him to make sure that he was okay, and I saw that, yeah, it was broken.
So from what I understand, you're telling me is that Lori Vallow warned you ahead of time that JJ had some behavioral problems.
Correct.
Maybe not to the extent you experienced, though, right?
Yeah.
Is that,
And this
is that
was a
funny? And if anybody had behavioral problems, it's Lori.
handful of activity with JJ, right?
Correct.
Throwing a lot of things, correct?
Yes.
Misbehaving, tantrums,
Yes.
throwing things upstairs, throwing things downstairs,
Yes.
climbing up and down all over the furniture.
Yes.
And this was on the 18th, Thursday, the 18th of September, and you were alone with JJ when all of this was going on, right?
It was the 19th.
I'm sorry, the
Yeah.
19th, Thursday, the 19th.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then at that point, after you had sort of straightened things up in Lori's house, you went over to pick him up with the friend, right?
No, he was upset and throwing stuff after the friend's house.
Okay. But before he started throwing the stuff, he was over at a friend's.
Correct.
And was there a little bit of drama over there as well?
Correct.
Talk about that with me a little bit. What kind of drama did we have while he was over at the friend's house?
From
Drama.
what I remember, they were just upset about a toy or sharing a toy,
Okay.
and JJ had a hard time doing that.
Okay. So when, and
That's drama. That's what kids do.
I'm bouncing around for a reason, so please bear with me. When the person who showed up from the airport on the 19th, the only people in the house at that point would have been the person they picked up at the airport, Alex Cox, Lori Vallow, and JJ, right?
Correct. Yes.
And at no point during that time did you ever see anybody else at the house. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. You never heard anybody mention the name Chad Daybell, did you?
No.
Now, were you aware that JJ and Tylee had a very close relationship?
No, I wasn't
Okay.
aware.
But
She
interestingly,
never
you
even met Tylee. She so told you the dates, and you know the dates.
noted to the officer that when when Lori and her friend and Alex got home, you told Lori about, JJ's behavior.
Correct.
And to some extent, it was still going on, correct?
That's correct.
And at that point, you made note of the fact that Lori seemed to be acting in a particular way towards JJ, right?
Correct.
And you said it appeared to be a little overwhelming. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, I felt, and maybe I was judging, but I felt as if she was too comforting to him and didn't try to correct that behavior, because to me, throwing chairs and breaking stuff isn't an appropriate behavior. And instead of correcting that, she was more just emotionally there for him and like being very sweet and kind to him, which I guess, is a loving mother, but to me, that was a little strange that she wouldn't correct that inappropriate behavior.
Right. And you viewed her behavior as over nurturing?
Yeah.
She went over the top.
Correct.
She was cuddling him too much.
That's not what she
Correct.
said, bro.
Okay.
Don't say correct. He's leading you.
And all of this behavior that you saw, the active behavior by JJ at that time, did that continue on while you were there? Lori was there, Alex, and this other person?
He seemed to calm down a little more once she came,
Okay.
and it improved a little.
Okay. And lastly, while you were there, the person that they picked up at the airport, when all of this behavior was going on and you were trying to explain to Lori, did the person who they picked up at the airport, did she ever use the word zombie?
Oh my gosh. It just doesn't make Chad look good. Just because Chad's name wasn't said in this one time?
No.
Did Lori Vallow at that time ever use the word zombie to describe Alex's erratic behavior?
No.
Did Alex Cox ever use the word zombie to describe JJ's erratic behavior?
No.
Did anyone in that house at the time, when JJ was acting up,
Yeah, the one day she was there, I'm sure they said, yep, JJ's a zombie. Use any kind of logic. The jury knows. You're just making yourself look bad.
use the word zombie?
No.
Did you ever hear the words from JJ using the words zombie?
JJ? Okay.
I have nothing else.
Yeah, that was
Nothing on
stupidest
either.
shit I've ever heard in my life.
All right, that concludes the testimony of this witness then. Thank you for appearing today. Will this witness be recalled by either side?
I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay, we've got to find it. I should have pulled it up before. It's really small on here. We've already watched almost all of this. We are in right around this time. Is that it? I can't really see it very well. Hold on, guys. Just 1 second. I'm looking for... It's somewhere in here. I think this is it. Yeah, I don't know what his point is. I mean, he must have known it was over. Let me see where it is. Pull it up. Okay. Sorry, I have to find it on the playlist. There's so many videos in here, bro. It's not even funny. We'll just look it up because it's a lot faster. Ron, come on. Arnold. Testimony. Should be pop up right off the bat. There it is. Okay.
Mr. Arnold, have you...
Sorry. I thought it's just faster to do that. Okay. So just to kind of hit on that. Yeah, I mean to put it on JJ and make it a behavioral issue, I really disagree with her. To say that you need to correct that behavior, you have to level, I think, with your kids the best you can sometimes. And you know, it's just, yeah, I don't agree with her at all on that. Pryor just doesn't have an ounce of anywhere to go. So I guess it's just turn it into Melanie Gibbs' fault. I have no idea. For the Suero, says Kira, thank you. All right, this one is about 40 minutes. And we are almost at the closings and the victim impact statements. So we're getting there.
observed any of this trial, either through online or in the courtroom since it began?
No,
Have you discussed anybody else's testimony with them that they've given in the trial?
no.
Okay, thank you for your responses there. Ms. Beatty, if you'd like to inquire on direct, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, could you please state your full name and then spell your last name?
Ron Arnold, Arnold,
Where do you live, sir?
in Salem, Idaho,
And what county is that in?
Fremont County.
Okay. Who are you married to?
Whitney Arnold,
How long have you lived over there in Salem?
5 years.
Okay. Do you know an
Well,
individual?
actually, I've lived there. Sorry, I've lived there since 2015. We yeah,
Fair enough. Do you know an individual named Chad Daybell?
Yes.
Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you tell me where he's sitting and what he's wearing?
He's sitting right there. He's wearing a white shirt and tie.
And were you familiar
That
with
shirt
Tammy
looks
Daybell?
blue.
Yes.
Where did you meet Chad and Tammy Daybell?
I was in Chad and Tammy's ward.
Okay. And about
Chad was my home teacher for 3.5 years, and him and his son came in to visit us on a regular basis for that time.
which son was that?
Mark.
And did you get to know Tammy as well?
Yes.
About how often did you interact with her?
Not that much, to be frank with you.
Okay. I'd like to ask you about some dates in 2019 and 2020. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Do you remember the weekend of September 21st, 2019?
Yes.
Now I'm going to back up a little bit. What's your occupation?
I'm a real estate broker in Southeast
Have a good weekend, Kay. Thank you for being here.
Idaho for Ron Arnold Realty.
Okay. And that weekend of September 21st of 2019, were you asked to do a real estate showing?
Yes.
Who asked you to do a real estate showing?
Chad.
Where was that real estate showing?
It was on 1800 East and about 190 North.
And that's near Salem or in Salem?
Yes.
And did you end up doing that showing for Mr. Daybell?
Yes.
Who, if anyone, came with Mr. Daybell to that showing?
I picked him up at his home and we met people there.
Who was there?
David Warwick and Melanie Gibb.
Was anybody else there?
Yes.
Oh
was that?
gosh.
I didn't know at the time. I
The
was
name was said, which means it's gonna turn into that.
introduced to this person. They said his name, but I didn't remember. But looking back, it was Alex.
Alex
Cox.
who? And I apologize.
Alex Cox.
Thank you, sir. Was anybody else there?
No.
After that showing, did anybody in that party purchase the property or did anything come of it?
No.
Okay. And I'd like to talk to you about October 19th of 2019. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
What happened on October 9th of 2019?
We received a call
always says
about
9th.
between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Whitney and I received a call, and our bishop had informed us that Tammy had died
What did you actually, approximately what time on the 19th did you get that call?
sometime between 8:30 and 9 o'clock a.m.
What did you do after getting that call?
We immediately went to the house,
Whose house did you go to?
to Chad and Tammy's house.
When you got to the house, who was there?
Chad was there, obviously, and some of the kids. Everybody was in some different rooms, so I didn't take inventory, I guess.
Fair
Exactly.
enough. Did you see Chad?
Yes.
Did you speak to Chad?
Yes.
Did you notice anything about his demeanor?
He seemed distraught.
Did you speak to
mean,
him?
Yeah, I mean, I asked him, how he was doing, and in that situation, a spouse passing away, and yeah,
Did you discuss with him how Tammy had passed on that day?
not really. No.
Did you attend a memorial service for Tammy Daybell?
Yes,
Do you recall when that was?
I think it was it was a Wednesday. I think the funeral that was in Springville and on a Saturday, and this memorial was on a Wednesday.
Okay, so when you say there were two separate services,
Yes.
and when you say one of the services was in Springville, would that be Springville, Utah, where Tammy was from?
Yes.
And you attended a service in Idaho for Tammy,
Correct.
and that was a few days after her death.
Yes.
Okay. At that memorial service, did you speak to Chad?
Yes.
What conversation did you have with Chad the day of Tammy's funeral in Idaho or service in Idaho?
More specifically, I mean, we visited, but he said that he wasn't going to be living at the house at the time. He didn't feel comfortable being there.
Oh my
And was gonna
gosh, him and Lori.
Stay in Rexburg with a friend.
And when he said he didn't feel comfortable at the house, did you take that to mean the home that he had shared with Tammy?
Yes.
Did he say anything about leaving Idaho?
Yes.
What did he tell you about that?
He said that he was going to go to Hawaii to do a biography, help a friend do a biography.
Did he identify who this friend was?
No.
Did you think that was strange?
I took it for face value. I mean, that's what Chad had been doing, writing books and those types of things.
Okay. At some point in time, did you learn that Chad had remarried?
Yes.
At some point in time, did you meet Chad's new wife?
Yes.
When was that?
It was in probably early November. Do you want me to explain the circumstances.
Well, let me just ask you a clarifying question.
Yes.
Was that in November of 2019?
Yes.
Approximately how soon after Tammy had died did you meet Chad's new wife?
That's when I met her.
In November?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember when in November?
Not specifically. We were having his kids over for a family evening and a meal.
You gotta give them both credit. They rolled into the situation very masterfully, right? Like using that around. You didn't even have to say why you're doing that. You didn't have to explain why you're going to Hawaii. You didn't have to tell someone what you were doing. You could have just said, I need a break. But they had to make up so many things in the religious aspect and then the fake stuff that you're going to tell people, and just shows you how crafted the lies were.
And he had called me that day and said he wanted to bring his new wife over for us to meet. And I had explained that I says, well, you know that your kids are coming over to our home for supper. Why don't you just come then and eat with us? And, you know, you can introduce us then.
And did you meet Chad's new wife that night?
Yes.
Who was that?
Lori.
Lori Vallow?
Yes.
Did you have a conversation with Chad and Lori about whether or not Lori had children?
We asked her the normal questions you'd ask somebody that you don't know, you know, where are you from? How many kids do you have?
Here we
You
go.
know, those kinds of things.
And do you recall what Lori's answers were or what Chad may have said?
I recall her saying that she had 7 kids.
Okay. And could that have been in reference to her and Chad's kids combined?
I was led to.
That's 5.
I was thinking.
Oh, we're talking about Melanie Gibb and Melanie Pulowski? Zulema? I'm pretty sure Chad only has 5 kids too. So who's the 7? Even if you combined all of them. Who the fuck are you talking to? Who's the 7? She must be counting at least Pulowski. At the minimum. That's still only 6.
Thinking that it was her children, not Chad's.
Okay. Did she say whether she had children living at home?
No,
Okay.
she was not specific about her children.
So other people she told that her daughter died only and her husband died. And then some people she told that she lost her daughter and her son and her husband, something like that. She's told everybody different things. And that's what I was just trying to say. It's just, I don't know.
Okay. Were you with her the entire night or were you in other parts of the conversation that evening?
They weren't there that long, but you know, we had a dining room area and a family room area that are kind of connected. And so everybody was kind of together,
Socializing?
socializing.
Okay. After the dinner that you had with Chad and Lori in November of 2019, when was the next time that you heard from Chad?
In March of 2020.
In what part of March of 2020 did you next hear from Chad?
It was around the 16th of March.
And how did Chad contact you or how did you come into contact with Chad?
He called me and asked if he could meet with me.
And did he tell you why when he was speaking with you on the phone?
No.
And did you meet with him that weekend in March?
Yes.
Where did you meet with him?
He came, we were just moving from our rental into our new home, and I had him meet me at our rental.
And Judge, could I have some foundation as to what year they're talking about?
Would this be, thank
They
you, Mr.
said
Pryor, would this be
2020.
March of 2020?
Correct.
They said,
you.
they already said that.
So you met with Mr. Daybell at your rental home.
Mhm.
And what did you do next?
He got in with me in my vehicle and we drove around and visited.
What was the first thing that you talked about with Chad Daybell?
Just so we're on the same page, my stepbrothers, Tylee, JJ, and I would still be 5, and Chad has 5. Even if you add in Pulowski to either one of those 5, that's still only 6. So unless Lori counted Chad's 5 kids plus Pulowski and then me, that's the only math that would make any sense, which, what the hell?
Asked Chad the questions that probably everybody else would want to ask about where are the kids and why haven't you told anybody? And sorry.
That's okay. So let's zoom out a little bit.
Okay.
What was going on at that time that caused you to ask Chad those questions?
Lori had been incarcerated and there was the big news and search for missing children.
Now, did you learn why Chad had wanted to meet with you that day?
Yes, eventually, yes.
And why had Chad wanted to meet with you that day?
We had previously talked about splitting his property and possibly putting another home on it. And we determined that his lot was too small. And so he wanted to know if he could put a home on it, which I thought he could. My experience thought he could probably put another home on it. And we talked about the fastest way that could be done. And that was with either a manufactured or a modular home. And we talked about some of those details.
And did he tell you why he wanted to put that home on his property at that time?
He said that he felt like he was going to need a place for him and Lori to live.
Okay. And you said that you talked to Mr. Daybell about doing that as fast as possible. Why did you talk about doing it as fast as possible?
Probably because getting into a home and having one built back then took 8 to 10 months, and you could get a manufactured home in 3 to 4 back then.
Okay. And back to the conversation that you had with Chad about where the kids were. When you asked where the kids were, whose children were you referring to?
The kids that were missing, Lori's kids.
His wife Lori's children. And what did Chad tell you about his wife Lori's children and where they were?
He looked me straight in the eye, and he told me that they were okay, and when this all was going to be, when everything came out, that everything was going to be just fine.
And that was in March of 2020?
That's correct.
I have no further questions for this witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Beatty. Mr. Pryorcross, yes.
Yep. They thought they could bury what they did under a home.
Good morning, Mr. Arnold.
Good morning.
So my understanding is you mentioned that you live in the Salem, Idaho area, right?
Correct.
Been there since 2015.
Correct.
You're actively involved in your church, is that right?
Yes.
That's the LDS faith, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And
And please, Mr. Arnold, wait until the question's done before you answer. Our court reporter can only take down one at a time.
And Judge, I just realized I was going very quickly, so I'm going to also slow down.
I like him to go quickly.
Seems to be a habit with a lot of people. You mentioned that Chad was a member of your ward. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, now, from someone on the outside, describe in essence what a ward is.
A ward is a geographic area in a stake. That's the geographic area inside the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Okay, so are there more than one stakes in a state?
Yes.
Okay, so a ward is a geographical area within the a part of, in this case, it's Eastern Idaho. Is that right?
Correct.
And that would include the town of Salem, which is, I've been there a couple of times. It's a small community, right?
Salem's not an incorporated town. It's a
Right.
small community. A ward has somewhere between 300 and 600 people in it. A stake has somewhere between 25 and 3,000 people in it. And it's based on numbers in a geographic area.
So if we talk about the Henry's Fork ward, we're talking about a very large geographical area.
The Henry's Fork, there is the Henry's Fork ward, but it's the Rexburg Henry's Fork stake, and it had 9 wards in it. And the ward we were in was the Salem 3rd Ward.
Okay. And having gone through Salem, what I recall about Salem is there's a church there.
Correct.
And that's
So you guys
kind of,
know that's a lot. When I was growing up in Texas, I think we had 1 or 2 wards. Obviously, the more people that are LDS will go into that stake, but a stake is supposed to be a huge area, and then you divide it into a certain amount of people per ward. And that's a lot. 9 wards in one place is a lot, or in a stake.
pretty much all of Salem. Would that be fair?
Well, there's a lot of residents there, all spread out, but yes.
Other than commercial buildings and religious facilities, Salem consists of a religious facility, right?
Yeah, there is a church house in Salem.
And it's a fundamental part of the community there. It's a drawing area where the people meet on Sundays and other times for various activities. Would that be fair?
That's correct.
And in one instance, the use of Salem Church is for some of the folks out in the Salem area, the only place that they could get internet access. Would that be fair?
No,
It's not?
no.
Okay. But the church offers free internet as part of its building there. You call that?
The internet in our Salem building is really bad, so you don't go there to get internet.
Okay. Okay. So you mentioned in September 21 of 2019. Do you recall that?
September,
21 of 2019.
Yes.
And that was on a Sunday.
well, if the 21st is a Sunday, yes,
Okay. Well, on that particular day, you were at church with Chad that morning, and
that is correct. Oh, sorry.
that's okay.
Don't hold me in contempt. I'm trying.
No, it takes a lot more than that.
Would you ask him for me too?
Okay, yes.
Thank you. You're just going to make me slow down even more now. Okay, so on September 21 of 2019, you started the day with Chad at church services. Is that right?
That's correct.
And without getting too personal, I know how long I'm in church, but how long of a process is that?
Well, it's a 2-hour block, but there's meetings for leaders before, and then there's some things to do after church.
Right. So it can encompass 3, maybe even 4 hours sometimes.
Correct.
So on that particular day, although you may not have a specific recollection, Chad could have been there just before 12 o'clock that day. Would that be fair?
I can't remember, to be frank with you, what time we was meeting, because we switch every year. Our meeting times switch every year.
But it does run late into the morning, right?
Yes.
So that wouldn't have given Chad an opportunity on a Sunday to leave and meet with anybody else prior to you picking Chad up at his house on the 21st, right?
I was not with Chad eye-to-eye contact the whole time at church,
Yeah, how did you
before
ask that?
or during or even after.
Okay. But when you picked up Chad at his house, he was still in his church clothes, wasn't he?
He was in a white shirt and dress pants, but no tie.
Okay. But that wouldn't be unusual for what he would wear to go to church, correct?
That's correct.
You'd wear a tie, number one. Number two, you can't ask him to speculate on where he was or was not based off of his clothes.
And then at that point, you picked him up and you drove out to a piece of property that you were trying to market. Would that be fair?
Yes, which was basically less than 2 minutes from Chad's home.
Right. And I appreciate you telling me that. And at this point, Chad mentioned to you and a guy by the name of Keith about looking at that property. What was that connection with the property and a Keith?
Keith had been somebody that I had been talking to about trying to help him find either a home or a piece of property that he could purchase and build a home on.
Okay. And then that particular piece of property is something that Keith was interested in prior to you going out there with these other folks. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. But then at some point, Chad contacted you and said he has someone who has expressed some interest in buying or at least purchasing some property in the area. Do you recall that?
Yes,
And that person was a guy by the name of David Warwick.
that's correct.
And David Warwick contacted Chad, and in turn, Chad provided you with David's phone number.
Was David interested, or did he just tell him that and try to convince David to spend money?
That might have been how that went. I think originally we met at the property first, and then I think Chad provided the phone number for David.
Okay. But you're not sure about that.
Yeah, I can't remember the order of
Okay.
that.
It could have been the other way.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first time I met David Warwick was at that property.
Right. Okay. So we're
Slow down, bro. All you do is interrupt.
unclear as whether you had the phone number before or after.
Correct.
Okay. And then when you drove out to that property with Chad after church, did you visit any other properties?
No, I had tried to get Chad to wait till Monday, and he had indicated that they were only going to the people that were coming to look at were only going to be there Sunday, and it would only, we really needed to do that. So he pressed that, and so I reluctantly agreed to go show that property. And it was actually in the afternoon.
Okay.
It was after 12 p.m.
It was later in the afternoon.
It was a little later in the
So
afternoon.
maybe church and all of the obligations with church may have run a little later.
I had been at home. Well, I had been at home when he called and says,
Okay.
will you come and show this property?
Okay. And at that point, when you showed up, there were several people there. Is that right?
The only person there was when I arrived was, and I learned this later, was Alex.
Right.
And then while we were there briefly, and David and Melanie showed up.
Okay. So from what I understand then, it's your testimony that this person, Alex, showed up first when you arrived with Chad.
I don't recall if he was there when we arrived, or he arrived after we were there, but we weren't there very long.
Okay. And this person drove in his own vehicle when he arrived there. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I assume that. Yes.
It wouldn't be someplace where you'd walk from somewhere in
No,
Salem to go there,
no.
right? Okay. And then subsequent to that, in an absolutely separate car, the other two people who you mentioned were, who were the other two people that were there afterwards when Alex arrived?
Oh, David Warwick and Melanie Gibb.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
So then in a separate car, David Warwick and Melanie Gibb arrived, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And how long were you there looking at the property?
Maybe 15 minutes.
Okay, and did David express that he had an interest in purchasing a piece of property?
He had indicated that he was either looking here or in another location to maybe do some developing.
And did he have the, did he give you the indication
So
that
he
he had the
was saying
financial
that.
ability to do that, or is that something you looked into?
We did not talk about that at that point, at that time.
So at this point, on September 21 of 2019 in the afternoon,
Who says
If I-
September 21? You mean the 21st?
understand you correctly, you didn't look into the financial resources that David may have to purchase 88 acres. Is that right?
It was 79 acres
Oh.
and I had not checked with him prior to that.
Oh, I was under the impression it was 88 acres. Am I mistaken?
79
79 acres? Okay. And the cost of that 79 acres would have been about how much money?
at the time, about $700,000.
Okay. But you didn't take the liberty of deciding whether or not David could afford that 700 and some odd $1,000. Is that right?
Mr. Pryor, I didn't know who was coming.
Okay. That's okay. I'm just asking.
I went there to show the property as a favor to Chad.
Right.
And so that's the first time I'd met David Warwick. Chad had mentioned that he had talked to several people that were maybe possibly looking at developing property in the area.
Okay.
And I assumed that this was one of them.
Okay.
And so if we would have kept pursuing it, obviously I would have.
Okay. And that's not as a means. I'm just getting the fact that we didn't establish whether David could even afford to buy that property is where I was going.
I guess I'm not seeing the relevance of that question to me.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunately up for the judge to decide, not for you and I to decide. You understand that, right?
I guess. I
Okay,
don't,
thank you.
maybe not.
Okay.
I actually asked the prosecution if I'm allowed to say irrelevant and tell someone that and he said, don't say that. They told me do not respond with irrelevant. But I almost said it a lot of times. It's hard. It's hard when you're up there because you have to answer a question no matter how they present it. No matter how they present it to you. And this is what, their job is to make you get to a yes or no, which is why I had an attitude with Pryor, is they get you and force you into it. Obviously, this guy doesn't care. Let's just be real. This guy does not care at all. And he's probably pissed he has to be here. But yeah, it's really frustrating.
And then at some point, there was an arrangement for you to meet the following day with David. Is that right?
I don't think so. I think we maybe tried, but they were leaving town. And so the only contact I had with David after that was we had a couple phone calls, follow-up phone calls. Are you interested? He wasn't sure. And then we didn't have any more contact after.
So you don't recall the fact that you went to Gringo's restaurant the next day with Chad with the intention to meet David Warwick on that following Monday. You don't recall that?
Actually, I don't.
Okay. Okay. And you don't recall mentioning to Chad that David had notified you that he had already...
Isn't gringos mean white person in Spanish? Did I hear that right?
...left town and wasn't going to be able to meet on the Monday following...
That's good. Yeah, that could have happened that way.
Okay. So in other words, there could have been a discussion with David about going back to the property, and it could have happened that he called you and said, I'm having to get out of town and I can't meet with you on Monday. It could have happened that way?
We did not have a conversation about him returning and looking at the property before he left town.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you, on the 19th of 2019, you were over at Chad's house. Is that right?
What's the date?
October 19, 2019?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And when you were over there on October 19th of 2019, you're familiar with that house, right?
No, I have never been inside that house.
Oh.
I had been in the foyer, and they have a breezeway or an entryway, and that's as far as I'd ever been in that house.
Did you familiarize yourself with the property surrounding that house?
When we talked about splitting the property, it was about the acreage,
Okay.
not about the house or the floor plan or any of those kinds of things.
Okay, so the acreage that you're talking about, do you have any recollection of how much acreage we're talking around that surrounds Chad's house?
You own it. How many acres is it?
Well, I appreciate it. I don't know. Judge, could we have a sidebar?
He did not like that.
All right, thank you, counsel.
They probably
We're
had to
back
talk
on
to
the
him.
record. I had a sidebar with Chad.
What the
Well, I
hell?
appreciate it. I don't know. Judge, could we have a sidebar that you're talking about? Do you have any recollection of how much acreage we're talking around that surrounds Chad's house?
You own it. How many acres is it?
Well, I appreciate it. I don't know.
I appreciate it. I don't know.
Judge, could we have a sidebar?
Yes.
Immediate sidebar. Somebody had to probably go talk to him. He got in trouble.
All right, thank you, counsel.
Guaranteed.
We're back on the record. I had a sidebar with counsel regarding the last response from the witness, and I just want to instruct at this point.
By no means is he wrong, but not the timing. Not the right time. Kind of just, yeah. But he's just talking like anybody else would want to.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the witness just provided what was essentially an unsolicited factual response in the case, and that answer has no relevance to the charges in this case or the guilt or innocence of the defendant. I'm going to instruct you to disregard that previous comment made by the witness, and on that fact, do not discuss that in any way in your deliberations or speculate about the previous answer, and I'll also instruct the witness to avoid mentioning that topic again. Mr. Pryor, with that in mind, then you can continue with your cross-examination.
Thank you, Judge.
That messed him up.
Now, you mentioned that Chad said that the kids are fine, right?
Yes.
And you mentioned that the truth will come out. Is that what you said? Something to that effect?
I didn't say the truth. He said that when things all come out, everybody will realize that everything will be fine.
Okay. So from that,
Lori
did
said
you,
the same thing in jail. They must have had this mentality that by some miracle Jesus would come down and pick them to the sky and say that these are my people or something. I don't know what that means, because they both kept saying that. I just don't understand. I don't understand that part. You know what I mean? Even with the delusions.
glean that the children were alive?
I assumed yes.
Okay. And did Mr. Daybell at the time, did Chad at the time, when he told you that, was he sincere about when he told you that?
Yes.
And you've known him for a while, then that was true sincerity when he told you the kids are fine, right?
Objection calls for speculation.
Hold on, don't answer that. Sustained.
Okay.
It's a lot of leading in those questions.
Now, you talked about the fact that there was some discussion, and please, oh, there we are.
Yeah, this dude messed Pryor up.
You talked about the discussion that it would generally be against your practice to do anything on a Sunday, correct?
I don't try to work on Sunday.
And for lack of a better word, from my perspective, that would be called like a Sabbath. Are you familiar with that term?
Yes.
But regardless of your faith and your beliefs, it's a day that you reserve for spending time with your family and doing things
Stop
in that
acting-
regard, church and family.
It must
Yes.
be him trying to build foundation for the jury, but let's be honest, the jury is probably LDS too. At least a lot of them are. It's just stupid. It's just annoying at this point to try to set so much foundation on it.
Okay. And Chad was of the same faith as you are and had the same practice of Sunday was reserved for being at home with his family and practicing your faith and your commitment to your family. Would that be fair?
Everybody does that different.
Okay. And typically most folks in your faith would have some sort of a meal on a Friday or on a Sunday in the morning or in the evening. Is that true or is that not true?
That's subjective too.
Okay.
Everybody does that different.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Everyone
Then
has
you went
a meal.
to a discussion that in March of 2020 that there was some discussion about subdividing the property. Is that right?
Objection misstates the testimony.
Sustained.
Thank you.
You had some discussion about putting another modular home on the property. Is that right?
We had determined by then that we couldn't, that the county wouldn't let him split the property.
Okay.
But because there was there had
Why
been
do you want to do
a
that?
single wide trailer on the property as well as the home and another septic system. And I had told him that the county would probably allow him to put another home on it, knowing that he would never be able to split that or sell that separately.
Okay, I see. So I misunderstood the facts a little bit. Thank you for clarifying. So in other words, there was some thought process initially into doing some sort of division of the property, and you folks determined that was not feasible. Is that fair?
That's correct.
So the only other option would be to use a then existing septic that was already on the property somewhere, correct?
No,
Okay, please tell me then.
because it had a septic system, the county would probably allow him.
Yeah, I have to tell you guys about the septic system because that was just a lot and effed me up. Really effed me up. Pryor was trying to put something on David and Melanie, but the witnesses felt personally attacked him, so he struck back epic. Thank you for your chat. Yeah, 100%. When I first heard about Tylee and JJ, I heard from the FBI, and then I got phone calls from all over the place, and there was at some point, I was told that Tylee and JJ were found in the septic tank, wrapped together, like back to back, and that was there for like an hour or something plus until I could actually get to what had actually happened, which was, I don't know, there's no winning. It was just, to me, it was worse to hear what happened, like to know, but I had that said to me and thought that was real for a while. And so that was something else, you know, but that property, man, it just, that property is just a dark place, bro.
And to put another home on it, not necessarily that they would have to use that septic system.
Okay, all right. So there was an intent of March of 2020, from what I gather, for Mr. Daybell and his new wife to put a residence up for them to live in.
That's what he indicated.
Okay, so the intent was for them to stay for a while, and then
Objection calls for speculation.
Abstain.
the intention was to put a mobile home up on the property for him and his wife. Is that right?
He had mentioned that could have been one of the reasons.
Okay.
Just to hide what he did.
Judge, I don't think I have anything else. Thank you.
All right, redirect.
Your Honor, I'm sorry to do this, but I'd ask for a brief sidebar. I think
Okay, why don't we do this? It's a good point for our mid-morning recess. Let's go ahead and take the
Oh,
recess.
this is a lot of controversy over this dude. Whoa, hey.
it's been opened to the fact that it is now Mr. Arnold's opinion as a realtor and as somebody familiar with what it takes putting a manufactured home on a property that Mr. Daybell's urgency in wanting to put that manufactured home on the property while Lori Vallow was incarcerated was due to the fact that doing an excavation would allow him to dispose of evidence. I warned Mr. Pryor about that this morning prior to the testimony of Mr. Arnold. I had no intent to get into that on direct, but it's my belief that the door has been opened.
Response, Mr. Pryor.
Judge, I don't believe the door has been opened in that. The difficulty is I'm allowed to inquire was the intent, because the initial testimony, if anybody opened the door, the state, when they said, well, they talked about Chad and Lori wanting to live in the house, and there was testimony about that. I'm allowed to inquire as to whether or not Chad and Lori were going to be allowed to live in the house, and that was their intent to live in the house. There's no intent to open any door, and there wasn't any opening of any door. And if you're going to allow a realtor to speculate, and obviously a hostile realtor to speculate about something like that.
Realtor. A hostile realtor? Is that what we go by now? Are you that threatened? Hostile realtor.
I think that's highly prejudicial, and the door has not been opened at this point.
I think the door has been opened at this point based on the cross, so I'll allow that, but I'll be careful, Ms. Patey. It's got to remain within his personal knowledge, not speculation, of course. And I also am somewhat concerned about your witness going back with that factual assertion that's going to confuse the jurors. So be cautious if you're going into that territory, but I do think the motivation or intent was brought at issue in cross, so I think it is fair game for redirect. But boy, I want to be ready to try to shut things down if it starts to run off the rails on that previous issue as well. So that'll be the court's ruling. I'll permit limited questioning on that, so long as it goes to direct personal knowledge that this witness may have about the issue.
And Your Honor, if I may ask just a clarifying question to make sure I stay within the parameters of the court's ruling.
Yes.
My intent would simply be to ask the realtor, based on his knowledge of, the process of putting a manufactured home on a piece of property, and based on what he has learned about the children being found on the property, does he now have a different opinion about why Mr. Daybell wished to have a manufactured home put on his property?
Well, so long as it's based on his personal opinion on
Yes.
facts that he knows and not just pure speculation, I'll see how the questioning goes, but I will permit a line of questioning on
There
that.
you go.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
That's
I appreciate
exactly
it.
what he was
Okay,
doing,
we'll
too.
take our break and then we'll try to
That's exactly what he was doing.
221, 1620 outside that Mr. Pryor was to make a record and deliver that. We can go ahead and.
Here we go.
All right, we concluded our mid-morning recess. At this time, Mr. Arnold is on the stand, still under oath. And Ms. Beatty, you may proceed with redirect examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Arnold, we spoke about the weekend of September 21st, correct?
Correct.
And you spoke with Mr. Pryor about the weekend of the 21st, correct?
Correct.
I just want to be clear for the record. Could it be that the 22nd of September was actually that Sunday of the weekend of the 21st?
Whatever day Sunday was that weekend is the day that we met at that property.
So it was the Sunday of that weekend.
Correct.
Thank you. And you mentioned that Mr. Daybell told you that he had guests in town that day, correct?
I'm not sure I was aware of that, other than that he had indicated that they were going to be in town or around, but nothing specific about him having guests in town.
Okay, so did he make, I should ask this a different way, did he make any representations to you about how long these folks were going to be in town?
No.
Okay.
Well,
you for clearing that up.
correct. Sorry, that's not correct. He said they were going to be leaving and could only meet on that Sunday afternoon.
Okay, thank you. Now, who contacted you about doing the showing of this piece of property?
Chad.
And you were asked about the financial position of David Warwick, who wanted to look at that piece of land?
I was.
As a realtor, do you run credit checks on people before you show them a piece of property or a house?
Sometimes, yes.
Is that something that you would do on a regular basis, though?
No.
Is it unusual that you didn't run a credit check on Mr. Warwick that Sunday?
No.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Pryor talked to you about the defendant's rationale for wanting to move a manufactured home onto his property in March of 2020, correct?
Mhm.
Yes.
Now, as a realtor, are you familiar with what the process of installing or placing a manufactured home on a piece of property is?
Not all realtors are.
I hope, if anything, because Chad is such a psychopath, if anything, that he felt fear every single day about getting caught. I hope every day that he felt that fear and that he felt it in his stomach and he thought about it constantly, because all he cared about was having Lori and having his life the way he wanted it, and he was going to try to cover it up with a home or lay concrete or build a pool, their backyard project that they kept discussing, just to save, their own asses. But the thing is, they wouldn't have gone anywhere, because let's just be realistic for 2 seconds and say that if you never found Tylee and JJ and you never reported them as kidnapped or anything, what do you think was going to happen, especially as a mom? So they disappear, and that's it. You just think that nobody's going to care, nobody's going to ask any questions, and no one's going to do anything, right?
Okay, but do you have an idea of what the generalities of what that would take?
Yes, I do know that. Yes.
Okay, and have you assisted other customers in obtaining manufactured homes and putting them on pieces of property?
Yes.
Now, can you kind of briefly describe what that process would entail?
There's a key word there, brief.
Okay,
I'll try to be brief.
how about as briefly as possible?
Well, you procure a manufactured home. You have to procure a piece of property to put it on, and then you have to do on-sites, meaning the foundation. You have to dig a foundation or footings and or how to put the structure so you can put the structure on it. You have to either hook up to city water, city sewer, or if you're in the country, you have to do a well and septic system.
And as a resident of the Salem area, you're aware of what was found on Mr. Daybell's property in June of 2020, correct?
Yes.
Based on your knowledge, well, let me backtrack a little bit. You were asked by the defense attorney about what you thought about Mr. Daybell's beliefs, or what you were asked what Mr. Daybell's beliefs or intentions were for putting a manufactured home on his property, correct?
Yes.
And that one of those reasons could be that he wanted to live there with his wife, Lori, when she got out of custody, correct?
Yes.
Based on what you know now, do you think that there may have been a different reason that he wanted to put a home on that property?
Yes.
I have no further questions for this witness.
All right. That didn't open the door for any further recross, so that will conclude the testimony of Mr. Arnold.
Wow.
Is he under subpoena by the state?
Wow. I mean, the callousness. It always gets worse, doesn't it? It just gets worse. Every time you just realize where they were at mentally, it just gets worse. Yeah, I do appreciate you guys. Thank you. Today is Friday. I know we missed yesterday. What we'll try to do is start back up on Monday. I just tell you guys to look at the community tab because sometimes we're going to start talking about other cases as well. And so over time, I'll just keep you guys as updated as I can on the community tab, try to put up videos for you so you know it's coming rather than just kind of dropping alive on you. But thank you guys. I do appreciate you. We're almost done with Chad Daybell's trial. We are coming up on the ending, the closing statements, and then the victim impact statements, which I think is going to be really good to hear again, but really hard to listen to again. So we're almost there. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Like I said, anything comes up, I'll let you know on the community tab. Other than that, love you, appreciate you. Thank you for being here, and I will see you guys very, very, very soon.